gentlemen, 5 days ago, Yogi Adityanath entered the UP fighting ring from Gorakhpur. The BJP's decision to field him broke a record of sorts, with Yogi being the first sitting state chief minister in 20 years who would be contesting polls. The decision sent tremors across UP's political cadres. And today, after dilly-dallying, after several changes of mind, Samajwadi Party Supremo Akhilesh Yadav has decided to throw in the towel and throw in the gauntlet and take the challenge thrown in by Yogi Adityanath. The opposition that was raining fire on Yogi for picking up a safe seat today find itself in a catch-22 situation, as Akhilesh himself is being said to have chosen to fight from his father's stronghold of Karhal, which falls under the Mainpuri constituency. The buck now stops with Karhal, and we tell you the chronology of events of how Akhilesh's no to contesting polls turned into a yes over the last 2.5 months. In November 2021, he was quoted as saying that he will not be contesting assembly elections because it would divide his attention from contesting his own seat to making his party win. Then, cut to January 3rd, the deflection began with Akhilesh giving just the first signs that he could contest polls. He asserted that he could contest polls from wherever the party directed him to do so. Yesterday, as the pressure was mounting after Yogi Adityanath's announcement, Akhilesh said he will seek the permission of people of Azamgarh, voters of Azamgarh, which is his Lok Sabha constituency, if they want him to fight polls. And today, the Samajwadi Party zeroed in on Karhal for Akhilesh debut, fighting for the position of the member of the Legislative Assembly. The BJP has hit out at Akhilesh for being unable to step out of the comfort zone of Mainpuri constituency. Listen in to the BJP's charge.
कि श्री अखिलेश यादव जी कहते थे हमने विकास किया है, जहां विकास सबसे ज्यादा किया है, मैंने कहा वहां से अगर हिम्मत है तो चुनाव लड़ो। उन्होंने चुनाव लड़ने का साहस दिखाया। ये मुझे बहुत एक अलग प्रकार से लगा है कि हाँ, उन्होंने साहस दिखाया, लेकिन कहाँ गए? मैनपुरी गए, करहल विधानसभा में गए, ऐसा मैंने सुना है। अभी मुझे मालूम नहीं है कि वो करहल लड़ेंगे कि अभी घोषणा हुई है, लेकिन उनकी हिम्मत नहीं पड़ रही थी चुनाव लड़ने की। अब वो चुनाव लड़ने के लिए गए हैं। मुझे लगता है कि इतनी करारी टक्कर वहां भारतीय जनता पार्टी देगी कि श्री अखिलेश यादव जी को समझ में आएगा साइकिल कैसे चलाए।
ट्वीट भी किया था कि 12 से 17
में उन्होंने विकास किया होता तो विकास करने वाले क्षेत्र में जाते। विकास किया नहीं है, विकास के नाम पे झूठ बोलते रहे।
भारतीय जनता पार्टी।
So that brings me to the legitimate question on the NewsHour tonight. Poll plunge by Akhilesh Yadav. Is it a choice or a compulsion? That's the question and the debate. Akhilesh to contest. That's the hashtag and the debate on the other side.
You're watching the News Hour at 9. Debate number 1 on Times Now. Super Prime Time.
Joining me tonight, Dr. Anand Ranganathan, author and scientist, Waris Pathan, national spokesperson of the AIMIM, advocate Kapil Madan, Congress supporter. Also joining us in just about the next 60 seconds will be Dr. Sudhanshu Trivedi, member of parliament and national spokesperson of the BJP. But first, my question goes to Mr. Ghanshyam Tiwari. Mr. Ghanshyam Tiwari, national spokesperson of the Samajwadi Party. Ghanshyam Tiwari, छोटा सा सवाल, very succinct question. Is it a compulsion now for Akhilesh Yadav? Because if he doesn't contest elections, he will be seen as, not taking up the challenge that has been put out by Yogi Adityanath. And the fact that he's chosen Mainpuri, people are saying, safe seat, not even venturing out to any other seat where he could have possibly shown, as Keshav Maurya says, the development that was done in his time. So is it a compulsion or a choice for Akhilesh Yadav contesting elections from Karhal?
Good evening, Navika ji, to you, my fellow co-panelists and the viewers. if anything, you will admit that this entire election is fought by Akhilesh Yadav ji under his leadership by Samajwadi Party. And in contrast, BJP is fighting with CBI, ET, IT, their fake troll army that is there everywhere, the propaganda.
Plus the Prime Minister, plus how many Chief Ministers, Sudhanshu Trivedi can clarify, how many Chief Ministers visited Varanasi and Ayodhya just because of this election. So BJP is fighting with so much might, and yet they come up with some petty logic that Akhilesh Yadav ji is choosing a safe seat. Every seat in Uttar Pradesh is a seat where Akhilesh Yadav ji is fighting. In contrast, for BJP, every seat there is Modi fighting, then there is Adityanath fighting, then there is Keshav Prasad Maurya fighting, then there are 15 or 18 chief ministers fighting, and then CBI, IT, a whole brigade of media fighting for them. So we did not make a big issue about where Adityanath should contest. It was Adityanath and several people in media, not pointing to anyone, but several people in media who appoint themselves as unappointed general secretaries of BJP, who started saying that Adityanath is fighting from Ayodhya. And that is when the whole narrative emerged. BJP has been hunting for a narrative this entire election. What we are saying is, it does not matter where Akhilesh Yadav ji is fighting. What matters is the agenda of this election is unemployment, the price rise, the injustice to farmers, social harmony.
Right. So let me get in Dr. Sudhanshu Trivedi. We'll come to the issues. We'll come to the issues later. But on the fact that it is Akhilesh's name on which every seat is being contested, and that's a fair fact, Dr. Sudhanshu Trivedi. अखिलेश इज फाइटिंग अलोन, उनके नाम का चुनाव है और सारी सीटें उनके नाम से जाएंगी क्योंकि ही इज द हेड ऑफ द समाजवादी पार्टी, whereas in the BJP you've been contesting on a double engine for one, and number two, he says that you have an array of people who will go campaign. So why are you questioning the safe seat of Akhilesh Yadav? Respond to that charge by Mr. Ghanshyam Tiwari.
I agree to what Ghanshyam ji has said, that Akhilesh Yadav ji is a whole sole person of that his own party, because he is one of the several democratic dynasties in which the successor or the king or the who has come from dynasty is a whole soul, each and every one. Falak Khuda ka, Mulk Badshah ka. So that's okay. But as far as his seat selection is concerned, I would like to say, लौट के बबुआ घर को आए. तो पुराने जमाने में जैसे होता था कि भाई जब राजा को खतरा नजर आता था तो अपने किले में गढ़ में जाके बैठ जाता. So that's why he has chosen his core areas, Etawah, Mainpuri, Kannauj, and from there he has decided. And as per the media reports, if he is contesting from Karhal, the caste configuration or the demographic pattern can very well be identified. That how sure he is about the victory and talking about the other caste communities and non-Yadav OBCs and others, वो सबको हवा हो गया इसके साथ ही. On the contrary, I would like to say, जाइए चेक कर लीजिए गोरखपुर का डेमोग्राफिक कॉन्फ़िगरेशन. कोई योगी जी के साथ मैच नहीं खाता है. और जाके चेक कर लीजिए सिराथू, जहां से केशव प्रसाद मौर्य जी, कोई उनका ऐसा नहीं उनकी कम्युनिटी का वर्चस्व है. नरेंद्र मोदी जी वाराणसी से आके लड़े, वहां उनकी बिरादरी के चंद लोग भी नहीं थे. हमारे लास्ट चीफ मिनिस्टर थे राजनाथ सिंह जी, हैदरगढ़ से लड़े थे. वहां कॉन्फ़िगरेशन देख लीजिए. दिस इज द डिफरेंस हाउ बीजेपी फाइट्स, टेकिंग एवरीबॉडी टुगेदर फॉर द कॉज ऑफ द सोसाइटी एंड फॉर द cause of the nation, and what others say, they say something else and finally rely on only caste, and when it comes to giving power, then it comes only to parivar or family, nothing doing with even any person of its own caste.
Well, so let me ask Mr. Waris Pathan. Mr. Waris Pathan, is it a compulsion that has made Akhilesh to sort of pick up and fight this election, or do you think instead of compulsion, it was his choice? Nobody was pressurizing him. After all, he can fight from anywhere he wants to, Azamgarh, Mainpuri, wherever. Is it become a compulsion only because in the 6th phase is when Gorakhpur comes up for election, but Yogi Adityanath's seat was declared in the first list that the BJP put out, and therefore perception wars began and there was pressure on Akhilesh Yadav?
Well, whether Yogi or Akhilesh, they can contest from any seat with their desire to. But the question here is, and what I feel, the nation feels, that Yogi himself is not certain that he will win from this seat this time, because earlier he said he will be contesting from Mathura. Then he said he will contest from Ayodhya. Now he has chosen the seat Gorakhpur, because Modi must have told him that, see, you have totally failed as the CM. Now you have to contest, go back to your home, contest from Gorakhpur. Similar, Akhilesh earlier said he will be contesting from Azamgarh, but today we learned that he will be contesting from Mainpur. But all this, they can contest from anybody. But the moot question here is, what about the people of Uttar Pradesh? What will they gain from it? And what have they gained? Earlier, in the last 5 years, what we have seen in the Yogi Raj is that ठोक डालूंगा वाली policy. Crime rate has increased. There is a Niti Aayog report which suggests that Uttar Pradesh is the third poorest state in the country. And this is because of whom? Because of the so-called secular parties who are running Uttar Pradesh for so long, as well as now the BJP government in the last 5 years. What have they done? Now, as far as we are concerned, we are going there. We are totally geared up to contest the election, to fight the election, and we are confident that we will be winning this time handsomely, because see, earlier they did not have any options. The 19% Muslims of Uttar Pradesh who voted for the so-called secular parties, the SP, the BSP or the Congress, they did not have any option. They voted for them. But what have they gained? What have they got? 19% of the Muslims, even today there are data which suggests that they are socially, economically backward. In education field they are backward. There are committees report, Sachar committee report, Mahmood Rahman committee report, which suggests that Muslims of Uttar Pradesh are backward. So why did they use us? They use only for the purposes of votes. AIMIM factor has failed. Only beneficial for the AIMIM factory was the Yadavs. 9% of a Yadav can become the chief minister, but a 19% Muslim who voted for the SP could not become a deputy CM or a CM. So this time we are going to ensure that we do political empowerment of Muslims as well. We want to see that we also have a political empowerment, like earlier, as those people who are sitting with the
100 seats. You can't form the government. You will have to go with somebody.
That does not matter. That is. No, that we will decide what is to be the. Today we are contesting.
You have to have a plan.
In Bihar we contested. We won 5 seats.
Why don't you transparently tell before elections what your plan is? Who will you go with? The same people who have not done anything for Muslims that you have said,
or the plans cannot be.
You can't form the government. So Anand Ranganathan, बड़ी बातें सब करते हैं चुनाव में, पर जो 100 सीट पे लड़ रहे हैं, जो सारी 100 की 100 भी जीत जाएं तो सरकार नहीं बना सकते, वो किसके साथ जाएंगे? Isn't that an important factor? Number one. And number two, of course, you know, this whole thing about Akhilesh Yadav moving from won't contest to will contest from Mainpuri area. Is this, I want to ask again, compulsion or choice?
Good evening, Navika, and good evening to all my fellow panelists, especially Pathan साहब, उन पे मैं भी आता हूं, लेकिन एक मिनट में जो मुद्दा है मैं उस पे आ जाऊं. Navika, there is no doubt in my mind, and we were discussing this in large measure yesterday itself, that had Yogi Adityanath not put up his name or thrown his hat in the ring to contest the elections, there is no way Akhilesh Yadav would have also done so. He has done so only after Yogi Adityanath threw him the gauntlet. It is as clear as that, and I'm sure SP would accept that. Did you hear of Akhilesh contesting from any seat before Yogi said that he's going to contest from Gorakhpur? No. So let us be honest and transparent about it. And secondly, I must, I hope my good friend Ghanshyam ji does not mind my saying so, but I am amused by his repeated reference to the Chief Minister of Uttar Pradesh as Adityanath, not Yogi Adityanath. He said it 3 or 4 times. So I want to ask him, is there some specific reason why he's not taking the complete name of Yogi Adityanath? I mean, tomorrow, does he want to call Anje Gonje Boneju as Mother Teresa or by her real name? He certainly calls her Mother Teresa. I have seen it on more than one. So why is he calling him as just Adityanath? I think that is derogatory. If the name is Yogi Adityanath, let us address him as Yogi Adityanath. And now let me also, before I come to Pathan Saab, now I want to say something very important, which Sudhanshu ji also referred to. He talked about dynasty. Sudhanshu ji, अब पानी इतना ज्यादा ब्रिज के नीचे बह चुका है कि अब बीजेपी तो डायनेस्टी की बात करे ना तो अच्छा होगा. यस, कांग्रेस स्पोक्स पर्सन है, उन्होंने तो शुरू ही किया पूरा डायनेस्टी से. एसपी की अगर मैं डायनेस्टी सुनाना शुरू करूं तो उसमें कम से कम मुझे 2-3 मिनट लग जाएंगे. बीजेपी में भी बहुत सारे डायनेस हैं. तो आपको और आपकी पार्टी को यह शोभा नहीं देता कि आप कहें कि दूसरों को एक्यूज करें डायनेस्टी. इनफैक्ट कल कल आपकी पार्टी में एक डायनेस्ट इंडक्ट हुआ है कि नहीं हुआ है? आप उनको डायनेस्ट नहीं कहेंगे, मिसेस अपर्णा यादव को? और थर्डली, डायनेस्टी की बात अगर मैं करूं तो पठान साहब आ गए हैं, इनकी पार्टी भी पीछे नहीं है, हिज पार्टी इज हेडेड बाय अ डायनेस्ट। अब मुझे वो पता नहीं कि पठान साहब भी एक सायोन है डायनेस्टी के, वो हैं कि मतलब मिस्टर पठान इनके फादर भी इस पार्टी में थे कि नहीं, वो मुझे मालूम नहीं है। लेकिन जो ये सच्चर कमेटी और इन सब चीजों का बात कर रहे हैं पठान साहब, देखिए इंटरप्ट मत करिए, मैंने आपकी बिरयानी खाई है, ये प्लीज, आपको बिरयानी का वादा है। जो आप सच्चर कमेटी की बात कर रहे हैं, मैं आपसे पूछना चाहता हूं कि जो AIMIM के MP हैं आंध्र प्रदेश से, तेलंगाना से, आपको मैं अगर गिनना सुना दूं कि मुस्लिम की सिचुएशन वहां पे क्या है, यूपी से बदतर है। सो प्लीज डू नॉट टॉक अबाउट द मुस्लिम सिचुएशन इन बंगाल और इन यूपी। इट इज बेटर देन सम कॉन्स्टिट्यूएंसीज दैट AIM heads in Telangana.
Well, I want to ask you, Dr. Sudhanshu Trivedi, to respond to the charge made by Dr. Anand Ranganathan on dynasty. अब आप कहें डायनेस्टी की बात तो अब तो अजीब लगने लग गई है, क्योंकि सारी डायनेस्टी, जितने लोग हैं यादव परिवार के आपको मिल रहे हैं, सबको आप शामिल कर रहे हैं। अगर आप परिवारवाद के खिलाफ हैं, डायनेस्टी के खिलाफ है, तो सबको क्यों ले रहे हैं भैया, क्यों ले रहे हैं?
Navika ji, Anand Ranganathan ji has raised a very valid point. But where the dynasty is and where a person from any political parivar cannot contest, for example, Navika ji, आप ये शो होस्ट करती हैं, तो ये नहीं हो सकता कि साहब आपके परिवार का कोई व्यक्ति पत्रकारिता में नहीं आ सकता या टाइम्स नाउ में नहीं आ सकता। दैट इज नॉट डायनेस्टी। डायनेस्टी इज कि जब भी कभी आप ये शो छोड़ेंगे तो आपके परिवार की। आनंद रंगनाथन जी यूनिवर्सिटी में प्रोफेसर है, इनका कोई भी ये नहीं कह सकते साहब इनका परिवार का कोई व्यक्ति प्रोफेसर नहीं बन सकता या JDU नहीं ज्वाइन कर सकता। डायनेस्टी ये है कि जिस दिन ये छोड़े तो कहें सबकी सीनियरिटी को ओवर रूल करते हुए हेड ऑफ द डिपार्टमेंट, जब मैं छोड़ूंगा तो हेड ऑफ द डिपार्टमेंट मेरे ही बेटा या बेटी बनेगा। दैट इज डायनेस्टी। एंड फर्दर आई वांट टू क्लैरिफाई, वी आर इन 2021-22, हमारे पार्टी के अध्यक्ष हैं नड्डा जी। आपसे पूछूं, किसी से बता सकते हैं 2030 में बीजेपी का अध्यक्ष कौन होगा? कोई नहीं बता सकता। 2015 में हमारे अध्यक्ष अमित शाह जी थे, उससे पहले राजनाथ जी थे, 2010 में गडकरी जी थे, 2005 में वेंकैया जी थे, और उससे पहले चले जाएंगे जरा कृष्णमूर्ति जी थे। मगर इस पूरे 25-30 साल में कांग्रेस और SP का अध्यक्ष एक ही था, और दावे के साथ कह सकता हूं 2030 में भी समाजवादी पार्टी में अखिलेश जी के ही परिवार का कोई होगा अध्यक्ष, और कांग्रेस में कांग्रेस के ही परिवार का होगा। सर, दिस इज डायनेस्टी। देयर इज अ डिस्टिंक्ट डिफरेंस। आप ये नहीं कह सकते कि साहब अमुक व्यक्ति आ नहीं सकता, पर सारे पार्टी का दारोमदार, सारी पावर कार्यकर्ताओं के द्वारा किया गया सारा काम, सबका सब कुछ उठाकर एक व्यक्ति को दे दिया जाएगा। एंड फाइनली आनंद रंगनाथन जी इज अ वेरी लर्नेड पर्सन। आई वुड लाइक टू रिमाइंड वन फैक्ट, 1919 में कांग्रेस का अध्यक्ष मोतीलाल नेहरू थे, 2021 में सोनिया गांधी जी हैं। 102 years, 5 generations has passed, but direct or indirect control of the party of the one family, this is dynasty.
Well, so let me get in Kapil Madan. And Kapil Madan, I want to ask you, why do leaders who want to have something to do with the politics of Uttar Pradesh don't, sort of go onto the ground and contest? Priyanka Gandhi Vadra, parachutes, ladki hu, lad sakti hu, but won't contest. Similarly, Samajwadi Party forced to contest only after Yogi Adityanath confirmed that he is going to be the first sitting chief minister who will contest elections after a gap of 20 years. Remember, 2007, Mulayam Singh Yadav contested, but that was a bypoll. It was not in the elections. So I want to ask you, Kapil Madan, why should people not know who they are voting for, what their plan is? Just as I asked Mr. Waris Pathan, by contesting 100 seats, ठीक है, आप 100 की 100 भी जीत जाएंगे तो सरकार तो आप नहीं बनाएंगे. So why is it becoming an issue where there is subterfuge when you go in for elections? You're on mute.
I'm so sorry, Navika ji, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah, Navika ji, so first of all, we need to see how the BJP has changed its stance. So initially the BJP started, there were reports, in fact, I was watching your channel very regularly and there were reports that Mr. Yogi Adityanath ji, I don't want to offend my friend Anand here, so I want to take the full name with respect here.
Your name is Kapil Madan. I address you as Kapil Madan, my good friend. If somebody's name is Mother Teresa or...
No, I get it. That was on a lighter note, Anand. That was on a lighter note, Anand. So when initial reports were there, it was in the media that Yogi Adityanath ji would be contesting for Ayodhya. Now we've seen what is the BJP's main plank in this election. We've seen their speeches. They talk about 80-20. They talk about कपड़ों से लोगों को पहचानते हो. They talk about कि टोपी पहनने वाले लोग अपराध करते हैं. इस तरीके का अगर उनका प्लान था, then why did Yogi Adityanath ji chosen not to contest from Ayodhya or maybe Varanasi? Why he has gone back to his old turf?
But the last time I heard, the opposition was questioning Yogi Adityanath कि अयोध्या से लड़ रहे हैं because हिंदुत्व का गढ़ है, he will play the Hindu card, and गोरखपुर से नहीं लड़ रहे क्योंकि वहां 2018 में हार गए थे वो सीट बाईपोल में. You know, चित भी मेरी पट भी मेरी. Madan sir?
We need to see what, I mean, everything has a context. We've seen what was the performance of BJP in the Panchayat elections. They performed poorly insofar as Ayodhya is concerned. Now, it is, if we are talking about compulsion, it is absolutely evident if there is a compulsion and if there is a desperation that is being seen on the seat of Gorakhpur, where Yogi Adityanath is now forced to go there. I mean, if it is a main plan, I mean, they don't talk about development. I have not the main speeches. If you see the main speeches, if you hear the main speeches given by some prominent leaders, they hardly talk about development. Rather, on their newspaper publications, they were showing, roads of different state, airports of a different country, dams of a different state. I mean, had it been the real plan, had it been the development been the real plan, Yogi Adityanath ji could have contested.
Dr. Sudhanshu Trivedi, respond to Kapil Madan.
I agree to what Kapil Madan ji has said, because as far as selection of seat is concerned, I totally agree that howsoever question is being raised on the wisdom of Rahul Gandhi ji, but he's having an enormous wisdom that he has chosen the seat Wayanad, and that has saved his presence in the parliament. And not only this, his wisdom has gone further ahead when he went to Wayanad, that he has said कि उत्तर भारत के लोग तो सतही होते हैं, वहां पे बातें बहुत समझ नहीं आती है. The depth of thinking I realized while coming in. So as far as selection of seat is concerned, I think Congress Party and Rahul Gandhi is a very wise fellow, and he has done one of the most wisest decisions in the recent history of the electoral politics. But one thing is very clear. जो कुछ मैंने ये बात कही, जब गोरखपुर से लड़े, अयोध्या की बात आई कब थी? There was an speculation, Ayodhya, then a speculation, Mathura. That shows the enormous popularity of Yogi ji. That everybody was saying, come and contest from here, the important cities. Like when Modi ji was contesting 2014, several states were offering, साहब आइए हमारे यहाँ से लड़िए. अब उस ऑफर को ये नेगेटिवली इंटरप्रेट कर रहे हैं, ये अपने आप में आश्चर्य की बात है. और मैंने फिर कहा है, जो लोग ये कहना चाहते हैं हमारे किसी भी लीडर की, जो बड़े लीडर्स हैं, उनका कास्ट कॉन्फ़िगरेशन देख लीजिए. कभी भी वे नेवर ट्राई टू गो. अब ये बताइए, केशव मौर्य जी सिराथू से लड़ते हैं तो 2012 में पहली बार उन्होंने जीती थी, उससे पहले बीजेपी जीतती नहीं. जब मोदी जी लड़ने आए हैं बनारस से, तो बनारस हमारी सिटिंग सीट नहीं थी. याद करिए, उससे पहले वाले इलेक्शन में भी हम हारे थे. एक बार जोशी जी रहे, उससे पहले कांग्रेस के जीते थे राजेश मिश्रा. इसलिए मैं कहना चाहता हूं, हम हमेशा ईमानदारी से जनता के साथ आते हैं. We keep everybody together, and that is very evident in the selection of seats.
10 seconds.
Go on, Dr. Anand Ranganathan.
No, I just wanted, I was quite amused by my very good friend Kapil Madan ji talking about Yogi Adityanath ji. As you, I'm so sorry. On a equally lighter note, Kapil, Rahul Gandhi should actually be Rahul Jahangir Gandhi. Ghandy, but I respect that he calls himself Gandhi. So he's scion of the Gandhi dynasty. But I want to ask you in all honesty, Who is your chief ministerial candidate?
I have an objection to that. I mean, I have an objection to that. If you are expecting, I mean, you had a problem when somebody addressed Yogi Adityanath ji as Adityanath, and you are now trying to distort the name, and it is absolutely shameful on your part, Anand. You should not do that. I mean, you are such a learned and such an intellectual individual. I mean, absolutely does not.
What am I saying?
This is absolutely not fair. And,
coming
from someone, I mean, it shows a double standard. Anand, it shows a double standard.
You are deliberately twisting what I said.
You
haven't even heard what I said.
The moment you go personal on someone, that shows only one thing. You don't have subject, you don't have issues to talk about.
This is unexpected of you.
All
right, Anand Ranganathan wants to clarify. Ranganathan wants to clarify. Please allow him to clarify.
There is a clarification. There is a
clarification.
Now,
Kapil.
No, this is unfair. Now, Kapil, please listen. I mean,
you are being unfair, Anand. You're absolutely being unfair.
Why are you going hypersonic? I mentioned. Will you please listen to me, Navika?
One minute, Kapil Madan, your objection has been observed, sustained, and now there is a response that's coming from. The language used in courts. I'm saying it's not overruled, it's sustained, and the other person is wanting to respond and clarify.
Yes. So yes, I just want to clarify to my good friend Kapil Madan, that I said I respect the name of
Rahul Gandhi that he has given himself. Rahul Gandhi.
Why are you objecting to that?
No, you said something else. You said
something else.
Anand, I don't want to say
now, will you let me finish?
Camera, don't lie. On a camera,
oh my God, Navika, this is unbelievable.
Then Anand Ranganathan, please respond to the fact. Why did you say Rahul Jahangir Gandhi? What was it that you were trying to say? Yes.
Now, please listen to me.
I mean, if you are seeking an apology from Ghanshyam,
okay. All right. He's responding.
Yes. So just like Yogi Adityanath's name was
something Bisht, and he has changed his name to Yogi Adityanath, so people respect it and call him Yogi Adityanath. Likewise, if you were to go by what Mrs. Indira Gandhi married Firoz Jahangir Gandhi, correct? Or do you know that history or not? So ideally, she should have been called, when she took the surname of her husband, should be Indira Gandhi.
You don't decide. Anand, you don't decide someone else's name.
Navika,
you don't decide
that.
I
said,
if Rahul... You don't decide that, Anand. You don't decide. How can you decide?
I don't decide.
That's why I am calling Rahul Gandhi as Rahul Gandhi. I am not deciding.
How can you do that?
Well, but that's not the point. The explanation has been given. But the question I want to ask you, Mr. Ghanshyam Tiwari. Mr. Ghanshyam Tiwari, as pointed out by by Dr. Anand Ranganathan, you specifically called Yogi Adityanath as Adityanath. Is there a reason you would do that? Because you're normally a respectful person.
Well, let me read you some headlines first. Hindu monk charged over call for genocides of Muslims. India police to probe Hindu monks for Muslim genocide. Hindu monk jailed. These are foreign press headlines. When people dress themselves as monks, want to be called as monks, start perpetrating hate crimes. And Adityanath is known for the charges that are there against him, including what was covered in the Caravan magazine, including his statement at the Gorakhpur station. One must question, who are we making the saints out of? If tomorrow Anand Ranganathan starts calling himself Saint Anand Ranganathan, I will not call him Saint Anand Ranganathan. I will still call him Dr. Anand Ranganathan. Yati Narasimhanand, Deepak Tyagi started calling himself Yati Narasimhanand. He is the new guru of Bharatiya Janata Party after Asaram and Ram Rahim. He openly says that Adityanath saved him from the police. And there's another guru in that Haridwar hate group who openly shows pictures of Uttarakhand Chief Minister touching his feet. When leaders of Bharatiya Janata Party and supporters of Bharatiya Janata Party make hate mongers,
well,
be called as saints and monks, Not everyone should follow suit.
The history
we
of
must apply our mind and determine
criminals in
who are the
Samajwadi
saints.
Party is not any less. But Dr. Sudhanshu Trivedi respond to Ghanshyam Tiwari. Sudhanshu Trivedi ji has raised his hand. Sudhanshu Trivedi ji.
Ghanshyam ji. What Ghanshyam ji has said, I will respond.
We are inheritors of the thought leadership of Hindu civilization. We cannot let hate mongers, people who call for genocides, become our saints, our monks, our thought leaders and capture the idea of India. I do not accept Yati Narasimhan as a saint. Anand may accept him. He is Deepak Tyagi and now he will be called criminal Deepak Tyagi. And same with others such. And anyone who was a hate monger cannot be a saint, cannot be a monk, and he'll be called Adityanath.
Respond, Dr. Sudhanshu Trivedi.
Now I want to respond. He has raised a very appropriate point of hate mongers. March 2017, Cantonment Assembly election, and Mulayam Singh Yadav openly said, मैंने 16 हिंदू मरवा दिए थे, इससे ज्यादा मैं क्या कर सकता था मुसलमानों के लिए, 40 भी मर जाते तो गम नहीं था. What do you call this? Hate mongering, hate speech, openly saying killing 16% on the name of religion. के भाषण दे रहे हैं. कि मौलाना तौकीर अता ने कहा मैं नक्शा बदल दूंगा, मौलाना उसको कहेंगे, बोलिए हाँ या ना. इमाम बुखारी ने कहा था कि मैं आईएसआई का एजेंट हूं, औकात हो तो मुझसे कहिए, ओसामा बिन लादेन मेरा आदर्श है. बोलिए क्यों बोला था? औकात है कि इमाम को इमाम नहीं बोलेंगे? इसलिए मैं कहना चाहता हूं, जिन लोगों का टोटल हिस्ट्री ये रही हो नहीं बोलेंगे कि जिन्होंने, अब ये बताइए क्यों बोलेंगे? अच्छा चलिए क्यों बोलेंगे? हम किसी रहमान पर कहे कि हमारे दिल में बाबरी मस्जिद है, तो आपके नेता की तो घिग्गी बन गई. जब उनसे कहा गया 21 से 18 वर्ष की उम्र में औरतें लड़कियों की संख्या होगी तो उनके अंदर बदचलनी आ जाएगी. जब बोला गया अखिलेश नहीं बोल पाए, आप क्या बोलेंगे भाई? अखिलेश से पूछा गया, अखिलेश जी आपने गलत बोला. अरे वो तो मीडिया वाले कुरेद के सवाल पूछते हैं, बुजुर्ग आदमी है, बोल गए होंगे. He didn't condemn. लड़कों से गलती हो जाती है, ये कंडेम नहीं करते हैं. गजब है जनाब. अरे भारत माता को डायन कहा आजम खान ने 1990 में, वो इनके हीरो हैं. गजब का सवाल. देखिए आप हार्वर्ड एजुकेटेड हैं, एटलीस्ट समाजवादी पार्टी जैसी पार्टी को डिफेंड करने से पहले थोड़ा सा आप बैकग्राउंड चेक कर लेंगे तो आप हेट स्पीच पर बोलने से पहले 10 बार 100 बार सोचेंगे. इसलिए मेरा कहना चाहता है कि सबसे ज्यादा, और आज की मैं बात करूं, जिन्ना कौन लाया, अखिलेश या हम? हिंदू बोको हराम किसने बोला? सलमान खुर्शीद ने या हमने? अयोध्या राइजिंग किताब किसने लिखी? सलमान खुर्शीद ने या हमने? बाबरी मस्जिद मेरे दिल में है, ये किसने बोला? अच्छा फिकुर रहमान बर्क या हम? आपके नेता पिछली बार के सलमान शेरवानी बोले कहां पर, कासगंज में, कि अगर हमारी सरकार बन गई तो किसी पुलिस वाले की हैसियत नहीं होगी किसी मुस्लिम को उंगली उठा सके. समाजवादी पार्टी बोले थे आप कुछ. आज आपका बोलता है बिजनौर का जिला अध्यक्ष की मेरी सरकार बनी तो मुसलमानों के पेशाब से चिराग जलवाऊंगा. आप बोले थे कि एटी हसन ने कहा कि ये 21 से 18 इसलिए नहीं होनी चाहिए, तुम लोग 4 बीबियां नहीं रख पाओगे. आप कुछ बोले थे. इसलिए मैं कहना चाहता हूं, बहुत सारी चीजें हैं. आप कितना भी पढ़े लिखे हो, मगर सफाई की पढ़ाई और लिखाई आपसे छुपाई नहीं जा सकती.
और सबसे बड़ी बात घनश्याम तिवारी जी, मैं भी आपसे 2 सवाल पूछना चाहती हूँ. मैं पूछना चाहती हूँ कि अगर आप योगी आदित्यनाथ के बारे में इस तरह कहेंगे तो मैं आपसे पूछना चाहती हूँ कि जो यूपी की जनता ने उन्हें चुना था और 312 सीटें आई थी और मुख्यमंत्री वो बने थे.
If you permit, can I add one more sentence?
यस डॉक्टर त्रिवेदी.
यस. जहां तक योगी जी की बात है, जो हिंदू धर्म की संत परंपरा नहीं समझते, योगी जी गोरखपीठ के मठाधीश हैं और घनश्याम जी भी को पता होगा, जब कोई व्यक्ति संत बनता है तो हमारे यहाँ अपना पिंडदान कर देते और उसके साथ वह अपने परिवार से संबंध तोड़ देता है. पिंडदान मतलब आपने अपना शरीर समाप्त कर लिया, तब एक नया नाम धारण करते. इसलिए योगी आदित्यनाथ जी अपने फॉर्म में अपने पिताजी का नाम नहीं लिखते, वो महंत अवैधनाथ जी का लिखते हैं, क्योंकि तब वो गुरु शिष्य परंपरा में आ जाते हैं, पिता पुत्र परंपरा से हट जाते हैं. बायोलॉजिकल सक्सेशन बिकम इमैटेरियल एंड स्पिरिचुअल सक्सेशन बिकम इंपॉर्टेंट. अब ये बताइए, जो बाकियों का एग्जांपल दिए गए, सोनिया जी है, अगर वो भरेंगे तो पिताजी का ओरिजिनल नाम नहीं लिखेंगी क्या? तो आप योगी जी का वो हिंदू धर्म की एक विराट परंपरा से है, इसीलिए एक बार आर्टिफिशियल हिंदू शब्द बोला गया. आर्टिफिशियल और एक्चुअल हिंदू इसीलिए.
सबसे बड़ी बात है वारिस पठान साहब, एंड लेट मी आस्क यू दिस क्वेश्चन. A popularly elected government, a head of a popularly elected government, shouldn't he be extended some amount of courtesy instead of the kind of statements that have been made by Mr. Ghanshyam Tiwari? If there is any charge that has been proven in a court of law, those will be taken care of by the courts themselves. Is it right? Is it right to call a person in a constitutional position by the names that have been called tonight?
Well, Navika, I will answer to your question, but allow me to make 2-3. I will answer to a question. Allow me 2-3 quick points. First and foremost, thank you very much for saying that Inshallah MIM will win 100 out of 100 seats. For that, आपके मुंह में घी शक्कर. Second thing, my
जितनी मर्जी शक्कर गुड़ शक्कर पारे खिला लीजिए मुझे, फिर भी सरकार नहीं बनेगी 100 सीटों में. 100 सीटों में सरकार नहीं बनेगी. जितना मर्जी गुड़ खिला लीजिए किसी को.
My very good friend Anand Ranganathan asked me about my dynasty. So let me tell you, I am not a political dynast. My father was a judge. I am a lawyer. My son has become a lawyer. I am a lawyer politician. Son is no way connected with politics. Third thing, Anand said, Waris Pathan, what we have done in Telangana. I will take my good friend Anand along with me in the flight. I will show him the work done by Owaisi brothers. We have 12 intermedical colleges, schools, hospitals, which you will not find anywhere in the country. And there we give education to all the people coming from all over community, not only Muslims. You will be surprised, you will amaze, and I am sure when you come back to Delhi, you will send me your favorite Mysore Park box to me, because I will show you.
Respond, Dr. Anand Ranganathan, that he will send you a Mysore Park box even if your argument is wrong, but respond, Dr. Anand Ranganathan.
बिल्कुल नाविका, मैं 1 किलो नहीं, मैं 2 किलो मैसूर पाक भेजूंगा, लेकिन मैं 2 चीज बोलना चाहता हूं.
Shocked to see the work which we have done in Hyderabad.
Yes. Now, एक सवाल आपसे मैं आने वाला हूं, लेकिन मैं माय गुड फ्रेंड घनश्याम जी से ये बोलना चाहता हूं कि आप भले ही उनको योगी ना माने, लेकिन घनश्याम उनका नाम योगी है. अब मैं आपको कृष्ण भगवान नहीं मानता, मैं कहूंगा नहीं, मैं तुम्हें घनश्याम नहीं कहूंगा. अरे आपका नाम घनश्याम है भाई, तो आप उनसे कहें कि नहीं वो सेंट नहीं है, लेकिन उनका नाम है योगी, तो यू हैव टू एड्रेस इट एज योगी. आप कुछ भी कह सकते हैं. पठान साहब, आप पे आ रहा हूं मैं. आपने बहुत अच्छी बात कही कि आपने मुस्लिम्स का वो बढ़ाया है, सबको सब चीज दी है. आप मुझे एक इंस्टेंस बताइए पिछले 5 साल में, पठान साहब, एंड आई एम टॉकिंग ए पॉलिटिकल ईयर, जहां योगी सरकार ने डिस्क्रिमिनेशन करी हो और मुस्लिम्स को नहीं दिया हो, हिंदूज को दिया हो. एक इंस्टेंस बताइए, उज्ज्वला का, घरों का, टॉयलेट्स का.
Very good question, Mr. Anand Ranganathan. Pradhan Mantri Ayush Yojana Rural 2021, kindly search the Google. How many homes has he given to the Muslims? One, single one. And he talks about Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas, Sabka Vishwas. Kindly search the Google. This is not discrimination. It is not discriminating between two communities. This is following the Constitution. Constitution speaks about equality. And he is the Prime Minister of the country. He is the Prime Minister of the Muslims, Hindu, Christian, Sikhs, everybody. This is the blatant discrimination done by our Prime Minister.
So one scheme that he's been able to find out where, there has been...
not true.
And आप ज्यादा जानते हैं. कमाल है. तो फिर मुझे भी आंकड़े दीजिए. Please give me data that every single Muslim in the constituency of Asaduddin Owaisi is above the poverty line. Give me also data that every single Muslim in the constituency of Asaduddin Owaisi is educated, literate, has got a job. Give me those details also, Mr. Waris Pathan. It's all very well to pick up exceptions and put it out there, but the question is, your game is also a game of subterfuge, just as there are perception wars that are going on in the elections of Uttar Pradesh. Well, Gorakhpur announced first, following which Akhilesh Yadav's constituency has now come out to be Karhal in Mainpuri. Is this now going to be the beginning of yet another perception war? In your perception, dear viewers, who do you think is racing ahead? Is Akhilesh Yadav, who was playing offensive, picking up cabinet ministers from Yogi Adityanath's cabinet and bringing into Samajwadi Party, who had the advantage last week? This week, is he looking a little weaker because he seemed to be playing defensive shots? Is the perception game shifting every week from one camp to the other? What is going to happen in the next week? Let's wait and watch, because it's all happening out there. Battlefield Uttar Pradesh and Mandate 2022. Right here on Times Now. We'll get you the latest and of course your date with us on March 10th because तभी पता चलेगा मेरे दोस्त कि पिक्चर में कौन हीरो कौन जीरो. With that, thank you very much for joining me on debate number 1.